It's Jack from B&T MacFarlane, and today we're going to be going over the brand new Kubota RTV Sidekick. So let's get into it. Kubota has redesigned the RTV XG850 for the 2023 model year. It is also known as the Kubota RTV Sidekick, so you're going to hear me say that interchangeably today. The biggest thing you're going to notice is the brand new color. This is called Stingray Gray. I personally like it. Let me know what you think of it down below in the comments. It's not the only color you can get on the RTV XG850. There's also orange, black special edition, as well as a tan color. But this one, it is definitely going to be the most special. I don't really know of too many other dealers that did get this color. So again, it's really special that we have it here. The next biggest change that they did make was they updated the engine. So previously it was a Subaru engine that was made by Kubota, producing about 48 horsepower. But the new engine this year is going to be a Kubota engine made by Kubota. It does still have some of those Subaru parts that they did have, but I think Subaru's kind of gotten out of that whole deal, and it produces a little bit more horsepower. It produces 54 horsepower now versus 48. Taking that one step further, this is definitely going to be geared towards someone who wants a work/play vehicle. You don't want to have the side-by-side that'll do 100 miles an hour, and then you also have to go and buy a Kubota RTV for work around your property. You want one in the same. So we're going to go over the features, the specs of the RTV XG850 and see if it's really right for you. Up front, we're going to take a look at the headlights and most notably some of the attachments that can go on the front of this RTV. The headlights are new this year. They are LED headlights. Huge improvement, especially for when you're riding trails at night. You can also add light bars and lights to the roll bar and on top of that roof there as well. And some of the front attachments you can get, a lot of people do end up using these for snow removal. So you can put a residential blade that's either hydraulically controlled or just a manual control with the winch. So the winch will actually raise and lower the blade. Speaking of that, we do send most of these XG850s out with a winch. Just makes the most sense when you're taking this on the trail. You don't want to get yourself in a situation where you can get stuck. I don't know if you can really see it on camera there, but I'll get a close-up video. But there is a front hitch receiver on all of our RTVs, so you can tow trailers from the rear of the machine or the front of the machine. Now we're going to take a look at the inside of the XG850. You'll notice they have these little half doors. You can get fully enclosed doors on this. I'll speak more of that in a little bit. But in terms of the layout and operator station, it's mostly the same from the previous model. You're going to have your four-wheel drive, rear differential lock, parking brake over there on the left-hand side. It does have high and low range, so if you are working on the property and you don't want to be as peppy and quick, put it in low range. The throttle is going to be a little bit less responsive, so you're going to be able to kind of weave in and out of wherever you're driving on your property. And then you also have your winch controls, headlights over there as well. And then the display here tells you some information like your speed, your revs, and your hours, just some typical stuff you would find. There is a little bit of storage here in the glove box right here. And then the seat, it also flips forward for a little bit extra storage underneath the seat. One nice thing about the XG850 is that it has adaptive electric steering. So what that means is at lower speeds, the steering is going to be a lot looser and you're going to have to turn it a lot more to get the tires to spin. And then as you increase the speed, the steering wheel is actually going to tighten up so you're not floating all over the road when you're driving down the trail. Makes it extremely nice because on the diesel models of RTVs, it's actually hydraulic steering. So when they released this, there's no hydraulics on it like you would find on a diesel motor. So they did have to implement the electric steering, and they've done a fantastic job. Every time I've used it, it feels really natural and very, very close to the hydraulic feel. Another big complaint about last year's model or the previous generation of the Sidekick was how sensitive that throttle was. When you would press that gas, you would jolt back in some instances, and they've went and redesigned that. It feels kind of in between the old model and what the diesel feels. It's not super sluggish where you have to floor it and then you slowly get up to speed, but it's still responsive enough that when you press it, you're not jolting back, but you do get really good acceleration out of this machine. Now we're going to take a look at the bed on the RTV Sidekick. It does have a spray-in liner, so you don't have to worry about chips or rust on the bed here. It also comes with D-rings, so you're able to tie down anything you might have to transport while using this machine. It also has a payload capacity back here of about 1,000 pounds, so pretty much anything that's going to fit inside the box, you're going to have no trouble transporting. It has a manual dump feature that is standard, but you can add an electric over hydraulic dump feature that'll be much like our diesel models. So if you want to be able to dump the box from inside of the operator station, you can. And then when you open it up, you're going to see where the engine is located. Again, that's the 54 horsepower Kubota engine. It looks very similar to the Subaru one, but it does produce a little bit more horsepower. The transmission on this, it is a CVT transmission, but one nice thing that comes standard on the XG850 series is that the CVT transmission is actually completely encased. So on some other brands and models, this is going to be open, so the belts are going to be exposed to all the elements. And if those belts get wet, they don't function properly. And since it's enclosed, and Kubota knows you're going to be taking this on the trail where it's going to be wet, it's going to be muddy, so it's completely sealed off from the elements. And then there's also a breather tube up here for the transmission, and this is up high enough, way above the wheel wells and everything, so when you're going through water and mud, it's not going to get water sucked down in there to, again, ruin the transmission. And then stepping around the back, the bed, it also opens as well. Just pull two levers here and you're able to open it. And then of course you would latch it up so it doesn't tip back like that. Taking a look at the rear of the machine, you will see that 2-inch receiver I mentioned, so you are able to tow a trailer from the front or the rear of this machine. Towing capacity on a flat ground is rated for about 2,000 pounds, so any boat or trailer that you do have to tow, you should be able to tow most things with this RTV XG850. It's very comparable specs to the diesel models. The diesel ones of course do tow slightly more, but then you're sacrificing on the high-end speed that this one does have. Now we're going to talk about a couple of the options and accessories you can get on the RTV Sidekick from Kubota. RTVs have some of the most accessories you can get. You can get roofs, windshields, winches, different tires, trimmer racks, rear attachments, front attachments, but we're going to talk about some of the typical ones that we do see on the XG850. As you see it here is a pretty standard setup, a roof, a windshield, and then a front winch. These tires, they are an upgraded option, so they're ATV tires with the aluminum alloy rims. A lot of people, they do get the steel rims, and then another popular tire choice is the heavy-duty worksite tires. These are going to be more of a turf tire. If you're going to be running it on your own property mainly, these tires are the ones that I would recommend. If you do want to take it to the trails, then the ATV tires might be a good added upgrade. Like I mentioned before, you can get a fully enclosed cab for this. It's not a factory cab, it is a dealer installed cab, so it's not going to have the same fit and finish as the RTV X1100 does. I'll leave the link to that video up above. And this cab, it's strictly going to have heat. It's not going to have air conditioning and a radio like you would see again on the X1100. So if you live in Canada like we do and you're planning on using this in the winter time to either plow your driveway or do work around your property during the winter, getting that cab is a nice added feature that you can get. And that's where we're going to wrap up today's video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below in the comment section. And again, if you're liking the videos, remember to like and subscribe. It really does help us out a lot. And if you need help with parts, sales, or service, give us a call at 613-225-0555. Thank you.